Welcome back to the Banking on Digital Growth podcast. I am your host, Derik Kraus, and I'm very excited to share this episode with you because I recently tried using AI to make transfers inside of my personal bank accounts. Now, I didn't quite get the outcome that I was expecting, but that's not because AI isn't capable of doing that task. In fact, I believe it's very capable of doing that and other simple banking tasks. I'm going to be joined in this episode by my longtime friend and co-founder, Ryan Harmon. He is one of the smartest and most talented people that I know. And we had a very interesting conversation about agentic AI and how that is going to transform the way that consumers interact with credit unions and banks in the very near future. I want to introduce everyone to Ryan Harmon. We've worked together for 11 years?
Yeah,
Is that?
known each other a little longer than that, but I think we've been working together formally for about 11 years.
Yeah, because it was 10 years ago this year that we started BloomCU, which is now Metrify. And then before that, we were doing Job Piper. And then before that, Screeny.
hmm
So,
HR stuff, believe it or not.
yeah. So for everyone listening, uh, so Ryan Harmon and we're co-founders of Metrify and Paraloom. But yeah, long ago we were working in human resources software, and we went through a startup accelerator that was in Provo, Utah. So I'm in Salt Lake City area. You're now in the Centerville area, but so like just I'm a bit south of Salt Lake City. Harmon, you're a bit north of Salt Lake City, but uh, yeah, startup accelerator that's like where we started really working together.
Yeah, and I was living in southern Utah, and we were basically coworkers in the same company. And then we said, let's start our own thing. I end up moving up to Provo and staying at your house for what, a week, sleeping in your
Yeah,
living room
oh, did you sleep in the
because,
living room?
yeah,
You
because
didn't even sleep on our bed?
no, because it was an overnight. It was okay, let's do this. Now I need to relocate immediately.
Uh-huh.
And I did. But yeah, stay in my soon to be wife and I's new place.
Yeah, that's funny. So, yeah, I was graduating from Brigham Young University. I had just graduated, and Katie and I were getting married. We got married. We were leaving on our honeymoon, and then you asked while we were gone for a week and a half if you could stay there. And I remember this was funny 'cause I knew you a bit at this point, and I too, so I trusted you. But Katie didn't know you, and so she's like, can we trust him to stay in our house like with all our stuff? And I'm like, yeah, we can trust him. And she just took my word for it because she didn't know you at that
Yeah.
point. And so we went to Hawaii, had a great time, and then we came back, and the the precise moment when she like what flipped the switch for her is we came back to our little broken down shanty of house apartment. But you had got these what do you call them, like little walkway lights.
Half lights.
Yeah, like path lights. You'd got those, and
Yeah,
they had little
because
stakes on
the approach to your front door was like a safety hazard at night.
them. That place was such a dump. But in fact, Daryl, my father-in-law, he whenever he came over, he would always make fun of us for how run down it was. But yeah, you had got these little pathway lights and put them out along the sidewalk leading up to the front door, and Katie was like, "Oh," and from that moment, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how you won Katie over.
Yeah, I did that so that she wouldn't notice the sriracha bottle half gone in the fridge.
She doesn't care about sriracha. Oh man.
Good times. So yeah, we went from HR software to credit union industry, and that's been the journey for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to introduce you to everyone, and I gotta ask, does my hair look okay?
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
great. I
Is it
can't
good?
believe I just said that, but
Because
actually, it looks pretty good.
because a few days ago, I was talking to Katie, and she was like, "Are you going to record another podcast episode soon?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I thought, "Oh, this is because she listened to the last one and she wants to listen to the next one." And so she's asking because she's excited to listen to the next one. And I said, "Oh, are you going to listen to it? And did you listen to the first one?" She's like, "No, but you should get a haircut before you record the next episode." Uh, so as an obedient husband, I went and got a haircut the next morning. So
Good. Yeah, it looks great.
uh,
I hope my wife watches this one.
oh man. Well, I've been having some fun with ChatGPT's new Atlas browser in agent mode, and I know you're using AI a ton for coding. So for everyone listening, Harmon is the developer of the Paraloom app and the Metrify app. So he's a really phenomenal software developer. Started off as a designer and then became a developer, which I think is a really rare skill set because there are lots of developers that don't know anything about design or user experience. So they'll build something that's functional, and then I remember we worked with a developer a long time ago, and he built this web app for us, and I was like, "Hey, where's the login?" And he had put it in the footer, like, dude, that's not where anyone goes to log into something. Anyway, my point is, I think the fact that you started off as a designer and then became a developer is really beneficial from the
Hmm.
perspective of actually developing things that are also good for user experience. So Harmon's the developer of both the Paraloom app and the Metrify app, and I know you've used AI to do a lot of coding on both of those.
Hmm.
And on the other hand, I've been using AI a ton just for day to day work and really all sorts of things. But I wanted us to talk specifically about what's happening with ChatGPT Atlas browser and agent mode because I think it's a game changer across the board, but I also believe it's going to have some significant impacts on banking and how people interact with banks and credit unions in the
Oh yeah.
future.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, so I think I want to start off with showing a particular example of this, and for anyone that's listening, you'll want to go back to the YouTube video and so you can actually watch this. And I'll try to describe it really well as we're going through it. But uh, first, let me explain just briefly what Atlas is, if you haven't heard of that, and what agent mode is. So Atlas is it's a new browser put out by OpenAI. So it's like an alternative to Google Chrome, which is currently the most popular browser, or I know with credit unions and banks that run on Windows, it's an alternative to Edge. So it's their browser that OpenAI has made, and what's significant about it is that it really integrates ChatGPT more fully into the browsing experience. So before Atlas, if I wanted to interact with ChatGPT in my browser, I would need to go and open the ChatGPT tab, open the app. But now with Atlas, it's like built into the experience. So every website I'm on, I can interact with ChatGPT while I'm on that web page without going somewhere else. And a big advantage to that is the AI it can know what you're looking at on your screen. so that when you're interacting with ChatGPT, it's got context
Mhm.
for what you are seeing. And that's a big unlock for agent mode because they've had agent mode for a little while, but now having it be able to see what you're looking at on the screen in my from my usage has made a big difference. And what agent mode is it makes it so that ChatGPT can actually interact with websites and
Mhm.
web apps on your behalf. So it can take over your screen and do actions for you, which is pretty crazy to think about. You can tell it to go do something, like
Yep.
go click this button or go type this into this field, and it will do it. So, like simple
Mhm.
example, when agent mode, I think I told you this, Harmon. Do you remember? Uh, did I tell you that when agent mode came out like a few months ago, I asked it to go to our website, metrify.com, and complete the our contact form and schedule an
Oh,
appointment
yeah.
on my calendar.
Yeah.
It did it. It blew me away
Yeah.
that that it was able to do that.
Yeah,
So
I don't see any reason why it couldn't fill out, run a loan calculation, fill out a pre-qualification, or even go through an entire application with a little bit of help. It's like a co-browser, so if you're there along with it, if it has any questions, it'll stop and ask you, "Hey, can you punch in your social for me before
right.
it continues?" That sort of thing. Or if you step away, run your kid to school, come back, it's just sitting there waiting for your input, and it'll continue. So yeah, that was like a hello world moment for you. Let's
Hmm.
see, can this thing do a contact form? And when you saw, I imagine it had no issue with that. So yeah, it's like, whoa, what else can I do with this? And I'm excited to hear what else you've been doing with it.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to show something, but other things initially that I tried to do with it, like one night I was gonna go pick up takeout for my family, and I was like, wait, can can
That
can
moment, that wait moment, yeah.
yeah, can ChatGPT agent mode place this order for me? Because that would be super cool. And it couldn't because the restaurant I was trying to go to didn't have an online ordering option.
Oh,
So I was kind of disappointed about that. Uh, but yeah, like order food, make reservations at a restaurant.
yeah.
I had it uh, find a new dentist for me recently, and well, I needed to still schedule an appointment for me. But anyway, you get the idea. It's there are any number of things that where AI can actually go and take action for
Hmm.
you, which is pretty wild. It's like the reason it's
Yeah.
called agent mode is it's like having, if you think about sports stars or celebrities, they have agents that act
Yeah.
on their behalf. And so
Yep.
agent mode with ChatGPT is like everyone now having an agent that can go and do things for them, act on their behalf.
Yeah. Before you get into this, I want to add a little more preface, which is that oh, you as in Derek Kraus, you are an I would what I would consider an early adopter on many things. When something new comes out, you as soon as you hear about it, you have a use case for it and you test it out right away. I think you've put ChatGPT through the ringer and probably Atlas through the ringer at this point too. The as soon as this becomes available on the phone, it was like with my wife. She ChatGPT was out for a long time before it was available as an iOS app,
Mm.
and you and I were using it. I mean, at least a whole year before she ever touched it. As
Oh,
soon
really?
as it
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as they released their iOS app and GPT 4.0 came out, she was on it all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Does she use it a ton
having
now?
she still uses it, yeah, and has long conversations with it about various
Mm.
topics. And that was the same time that OpenAI's adoption rate just skyrocketed. They're probably gonna reach 1 billion users in the next few weeks.
Is it?
With Atlas,
Are they at that high already? Because they were at like 400. It was like 400 to 800 million in March, I think.
yeah, they
And so,
predict 1 billion weekly active users by next year. By next year.
wow, which is
And
only in a month and a half.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
crazy.
It took Google over 10 years to get to that point.
Did it?
Yeah,
Holy cow, that's so crazy.
yeah. So I say this because what you're going to show with Atlas, not many people are using it. It's, as far as I know, only available on desktop as a new browser you would install alongside the Microsoft browser, alongside Chrome. Um,
And it's only available on Mac right now.
oh, really?
Yeah, they haven't even, at least like unless they've released it within the last few days. Last time I looked, it was only on
Yeah,
Mac. They're going to release it for Windows, but
yeah.
sorry, keep going.
As soon as it hits the iOS app, it will go from, a small number of early testers, early adopters, hungry to try the latest thing, to being everyone. Because
Mm,
when we see a recipe, then you have to go to Instacart and add every ingredient that you don't have in your pantry. But if you could just say you're already in the browser, Atlas already sees the recipe you're looking at. Hey Atlas, add this to my Instacart, and then
mm,
place the order. That kind of thing is so many. Your dentist, once it hits your phone, maybe it has access to calling features, but OpenAI already has the best voice assistants. It, I think next year it might be able to call your dentist,
oh,
and
I would love
it's
that if it could make calls for me. That's something that's
yeah,
on my
it's gonna
wish
say,
list.
hey, Lee, hey Lee, this is this is Agent Elizabeth calling on behalf of Derek Kraus. He needs an appointment. Do you have any availability? It's simple. This is simple, easy stuff
Hmm.
that is pretty hard to do in between dropping off and picking up kids from school, handling and cooking dinner, the things you still want to do, hang out with your kids, actually make a meal, all the little things in between.
Yes.
Um, and there's so much of that to do with money, finances, banking, getting loans, opening accounts, managing your money, moving money around, that can be done. So ChatGPT is helping everyone with thinking and planning. Now it can help with the doing.
Yeah.
So when that hits the phone, when people can now get help with the thinking and planning, and then hand off the doing we don't want to do, it's going to be crazy. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to, early adopters, what's coming when this hits the phones will be big.
I agree. I've already looked to see if the Atlas browser was available on iOS, and it's not
Hmm.
because it was like a couple of weeks ago that I made GPT Atlas browser my default browser, and I switched from Chrome, which I've had as my default browser for like 10 years. Uh, but
Yeah.
I said, well, AI is impacting everything.
Hmm.
And OpenAI is the leader, and everything they've made so far is awesome.
Hmm.
So I'm going to give this a shot. It was basically why I switched it to my default browser, and I used it for about a week. And within that week, I was like, okay, I think this is marginally better than Chrome. I liked that it put ChatGPT front and center and made it easier to interact with ChatGPT. There are some features of Chrome that I've missed, like not anything huge, just like little conveniences that I had gotten used to. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh man, Atlas doesn't have that. But then it was just this last week when I started using agent mode, I was like, wow, okay, without agent mode, Atlas is marginally better than Chrome.
Yeah.
With agent mode, it's 10 times better because now it can actually do things for me, and it helped me to do a lot of meaningful work this last
Yeah.
week. So I'm without any further ado here. Let me show an example. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
So I'm in Paraloom. This is our AI visibility app that again I mentioned earlier that Harmon developed, and what it's measuring here is for Metrify. I want to know stuff like if someone asks a question, who offers A/B testing services for credit union websites? Well, that's the core offering that Metrify has, and so this is measuring how often Metrify is being mentioned when someone asks this question on ChatGPT. So this question goes over to ChatGPT, and then here's one of the we've recorded 3 responses here so far, and here's one. Here are reputable options credit unions use for website A/B testing. Metrify coming in as the first one there. That's exciting to me. And then other
Yeah.
things here, but that's not my main point here. Is I wanted to give you some context for how the app works. But in order to continue to get more data, you need to run the prompts. And now, normally, I would just say, if I want to run all of them, I would just click on this button, run all prompts 1x. But occasionally, what happens is I'll run prompts and then I'll think of a new prompt, or I'll have AI generate some new prompts. And we don't currently have functionality inside of Paraloom that makes it really easy to go through and run a select number of prompts. Like that's something that is probably somewhere on our roadmap for development, right? But otherwise, what you would have to do if you want to run prompts individually is click here and go run 1x. And so when I was working on this last week, I actually asked Atlas with agent mode on to go and create a bunch of new prompts for me, and add them in here one by one, which it did. And then I asked it to run them one by one because I didn't want to do it. And so
Hmm.
I'm going to show that because that's just a really simple example here. And so I'm here in Atlas. No matter which page you're on, you have Ask ChatGPT up in the top right corner, and then it opens this, and you can see right here, it knows that I'm looking at this page on Paraloom. And there's some different options here. So I'm going to turn on agent mode. So now agent mode is on. You can do that by going to the plus button and toggling it on here. I know that it's looking at this screen. And now uh, something that I've started doing a lot lately is actually dictating, talking to AI rather than typing, just because I find it easier. So I'm going to dictate to it. I'm going to tell it that I want it to go through and, just for sake of demonstration here, I want it to go and run all of these prompts 1x individually, just so you can see how it's able to take over the screen and do that. So I'm going to start a dictation here. See on the screen how there are prompts, like the top one says, who offers A/B testing services for credit union websites? On the far right of that, to the right of the improve visibility button, there's an ellipsis button. And if you click that, then you'll have options to run 1x, run 3x, run 5x. I want you to go through every prompt that's on the screen and run each of them 1x.
So it's taking that audio, okay, and then yep,
Yeah,
dictates it to a text command.
yeah. So it
And
exactly.
there you have Atlas. sort of running the cursor.
Yep. So it just took over my screen now, and oh, there we go. You can see it found the button, and it just ran at 1x, and so now that one is running. Now it's going to the next one,
Look
running
at how
that.
smooth it is.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
And it lets you know sort of what it's doing on the cursor and what it's thinking about. Yeah, there's all of the reasoning and reflecting, lots of reflecting.
Yeah, it's giving you a play by play as it goes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So it's pretty amazing what it's able to do. So
Yeah.
as examples, I mentioned that I used it to do this last week, which you know, there are 35 prompts here, and if I ran them one by one, like I could do it. It would only take me like, you know, maybe a couple of minutes to go through and click, click, click. But why? It's like it's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
It's just like a tedious task. I can set this to run. All I have to do is talk to it and tell it what I want. It will go and do it. And
Yeah.
then I can just come back in a few minutes and see that it's done. And so last week, I was able to use this for a number of different things. I used it to run prompts individually that I needed to. I used it to create new prompts and add them one by one into the experience, which
Hmm.
again is just automating a tedious task. I also used it to compile a list of 52 emails and names from my Gmail account. I needed to send out a kind of like a mini mass email to a bunch of people, and I had the list of people on my screen, but I didn't have any way to export it into a list, like get it
Yeah.
into a CSV file that I could take somewhere else to send out the email. And I was like, man, am I going to have to copy and paste all of these? And I just went to agent mode, and it did it for me. It within 3 minutes, without me having to
Wow.
do anything, it had extracted all of the first names, last names, and email addresses of these list of about 50
Yeah.
people, and it gave it all to me so that I could take it and easily do something with it. Um,
Yeah.
I also similarly in HubSpot, I was about to send out an email to about 450 people, and I was trying just to send it to credit unions and banks, and I saw just scanning through it quickly, there were a bunch of emails that were they were Gmail addresses or for companies that were not credit unions and banks, and so
You had to
I
go clean the contact list.
I had it clean the contact list.
That's
Uh,
great.
yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
incredible, and I I want to talk more about what the implications here are for banking. Um,
Yeah.
but curious when you're seeing this, like if you can think of any sorts of use cases where you would want to start using this for something.
I mean, I just had a thought of this isn't this doesn't relate, but I think the audience might appreciate it. Back in the early 2000s, using eBay, bidding on stuff,
Oh
there
yeah.
you used to have to sit there and watch the auction. Oh, someone bid, now I have to counter bid. And then at the end of the auction, you'd have to get in there at the last minute. Imagine having this to sit there and
And do it
bid
for you.
bid on your Pokemon cards or whatever.
Yeah, I would have loved that because I had when I was like 12, I had my heart set on this paintball gun that I really wanted. And up until like the last 60 seconds, I was like, yes, I got this. And then someone swooped
Nope.
in and stole it from me. So yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, for finances, rate shopping, I suppose, is what comes to mind immediately.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's tough to find the right rate or the right product. So um, having Atlas goes, sometimes you can only find the information you need from the financial web brand's website. Um, Googling or asking ChatGPT what's the best rate doesn't always work. There are other product properties like is there any is there a promotion that has to do with this rate that actually brings it down? Is there anything else about this product that actually makes it fit better for me? So um, use Atlas to go do that research and then compile a doc like a Google or a Microsoft document because Atlas can have more than one tab open, right? And go
Um, I'm not sure
across
if it can do that yet.
tabs.
I know if you're using agent mode, just like within the ChatGPT app, it can go between them. I haven't tried yet if it's able to go between tabs within the Atlas
Yeah.
browser.
I mean, I think like any use case aside, as far as products go, what I think is interesting to think about is how some websites are just difficult to use. Every
Mm.
website's a little bit different. And what might not be obvious from watching you do that Paraloom demo that you just did is that I'm pretty sure Atlas can see the screen visually. It's probably doing some visual analysis, but more importantly, it can see the markup behind the page.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
it can see all of it at once and navigate your website not by way of its design or its front end interface, but by way of the underlying code.
Yeah.
And what that makes me think of is that it's sort of like if you have a task to do on a website that maybe isn't designed very well, then using Atlas becomes attractive because I think Atlas probably has no issue with user interface design issues. It's going to be traversing the code. It knows what to click and where to go because it sees the code. So yeah, there's a use case like think about any government website paying taxes. Some
Yeah.
financial websites are just as bad, and so now you can have an agent deal with using that crummy website
I
for
have
you.
noticed when I was using it a lot last week, I have noticed that if like buttons are not very clear or like big enough, it can misclick. So it's like
Oh, really? Oh, it really is moving the mouse
yeah, it's like
then.
using the GUI. Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
Wow. So then maybe, yeah, user interface design is just as important then, even when you have an agent using the website. So,
But it'd be super
yeah,
interesting. Remember how we used to do tons of usability testing?
yes,
Or,
we would
so
spend an hour using a website, going page to page, and then basically writing up a review of how easy it was. Here's where we got stuck.
oh, you're
Yeah.
thinking with the user experience reviews that we used to do. So we did a bunch of those, but then remember later we did usability tests with users where we'd give them tasks, say
Hmm. Hmm.
go and log in,
Yep.
go find this branch location,
And we'd
go
record how long it took them to complete each task. And
yeah.
then we'd do a survey at the end asking them, what'd you think overall? Was that an easy website to use? Was it a nice experience? And we'd see that no, it took them 10 minutes to do these five things. And they said that was hard. Yeah,
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
should do those again.
Uh, oh, we have done some not long ago. We've done a lot more A/B testing recently because that actually measures conversion.
Right.
But what's really interesting with usability tests is we also use a tool called Maze quite a bit, which would
Mm-hmm.
measure, like you were saying, how long it would take for someone to do something, but also if
Yeah,
they misclicked or went down the wrong path than what we intended,
that's
or it
right.
just how successful they were. Like sometimes people couldn't actually complete the task because they couldn't
Right.
find it or it was difficult to use the
Right.
website. So
Yeah.
what I'm experiencing now with agent mode is that we for a long time there's been user experience and human usability of a website, and we're moving into an age now where it's going to be about can AI, it's like AI
Agent.
experience, AI user
Yeah.
experience, and like agent usability of your site. And
Yeah.
it would be really interesting to measure, like do a usability test
Mm-hmm.
with humans and with AI, and see
Mm-hmm.
how they're similar and how they're different.
Mm-hmm. Is there a new acronym that we just came up with? Could we claim AIX, AI
AIX,
experience for
IX.
AIUX?
I wrote an article a few months ago where I said AIX. So I don't know
Love
if it,
that.
I don't know if anyone else has said it. I'll claim it if no one else used it first. But
Yeah. So if you have your auto loan funnel and you see people dropping off at the step just before starting an app or something, you might think, oh, we need to redesign the whole page, or what, maybe you just need to run one of these. Could you run an automated agent test where you say, hey, agent, go get an auto loan, and then it could come back and it might find, hey, I got stuck here because the button is actually broken.
oh, that's an
There's
interesting.
if
Yeah, that's an
there's not
interesting
a
idea.
Yeah, maybe the page is actually pretty good, but you just have a broken. How often are we testing whether or not a little bit of CSS maybe shifted a button into an unclickable area, or there's just some unknown little bug that, wow, could you just have Atlas run through every
Mm.
journey on your website and spot broken stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, I think you could. And in fact, for anyone that's listening, uh, go do this. This is fun. And you don't have to have Atlas to do this. You can just go into ChatGPT and turn on agent mode.
Mhm.
Ask it to go complete your contact form and see if it can do it. See if it can submit a lead or a message on your website. And it's very interesting. I've told other credit unions and banks to go and do that, and for some, they were able to do it. In other cases, they're like, "Oh, I couldn't do it because we have CAPTCHA on there." So CAPTCHA is going to be it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that over the next few years, because
Yeah.
there are
Hmm.
a lot of bots that people have wanted to block and prevent for the last decade. But now, when you have
Friendly
agents that real
bots,
humans,
friendly
yeah,
agents.
yeah, friendly agents, friendly bots that are going out, a
Mm,
human sends them to do a task, and if you're blocking those as well,
mm.
and we'll see what
I
happens with that.
think the agents like Atlas will maybe need to prove that there's a human involved.
Yeah,
Or, I don't know, maybe
like,
Atlas will just be trusted by default because it's an OpenAI product.
oh, that's true too. That could be
It
another
it's a
angle.
Yeah, it's already attached to an OpenAI account, and Atlas can verify to some extent. Oh, hey, I'm here on behalf of Derek Kraus. Um, do you want to see my papers? I have
Yeah,
agents will need, they'll need identification for their human, and
that's an
maybe that's
interesting
all
idea.
that's necessary.
Yeah, either that or something like maybe the captcha gets delivered back to the human in ChatGPT, and they have
Yeah,
to.
you're at the store and you get a text from your agent, or a notification that says, "Hey, Derek, I'm stuck on this CAPTCHA. Can you approve it?" You just open your phone and, oh yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But let's talk about the applications here for banking,
Yeah.
because I had one. So this last week when I was doing all this, getting all this work done with
Hmm.
Atlas, and it was making it a lot more efficient for me to do this busy work that I didn't want to
Hmm.
do on the screen. And I said, "Oh, I need to use this to do a whole bunch of transfers in my bank accounts right now, because I do envelope budgeting, which
Yeah.
means I've got like 20 different accounts, a bunch of checking accounts and a bunch of savings accounts. So every time I get a dollar, I divvy it up into these different accounts and say, I'm going to spend this much on groceries and this much on house
Yeah.
payment and so on.
Yeah.
And now for just regular salary that I get, I have transfers that run automatically on a biweekly basis, and it divvies up the money into all of my buckets. But then
Hmm.
in our business, we do quarterly profit and tax distributions to ourselves.
Hmm.
And whenever we do that, that means I've got a spreadsheet that I use to I put the total amount up at the
And
top
it has
there,
to be
and then
done manually. This can't be scheduled or automated. You have to do it manually.
yeah, well, I still have to like I couldn't use AI to decide for me how I want to divvy up the money. I'm going to make that decision
Mm.
myself. But once I've decided all of the buckets I'm going to put it into, I then have to go and make like 20 transfers
Oh,
in
wow.
in my bank, just between accounts. And
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't take that long, but when I say not, it might take me like, I don't know, 15 minutes to go through all of it. But it's just like this tedious task. In fact,
Yeah.
this morning, Katie was like, "Have you made those transfers yet? You were supposed to do those a while ago." And I'm like, "No, so I haven't done them yet. I need to do them."
Yeah.
But this last week, I said, "Oh man, I know now from using agent mode and Atlas that I could have it do it for me." And
So
and
you gave Atlas access to your bank account.
I did. I logged in on my screen, and you've got an option in Atlas where it can view your screen logged in or logged out. So, like when I first went to
Uh,
turn it on, it gave me, it's like, okay, do you want it to be able to view your logged in accounts, or do you want it
you're,
to be logged out? So they're starting to build in some security measures with
oh,
that.
interesting.
And I said logged in, and so I logged into my bank account, and I had my screen there, and I said, and of course with money you want to be a little bit cautious, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted it to test it first. And I was going to watch it and see what it did, and make sure it could successfully make one of the transfers. And then if it could do it at least once, maybe I'd watch it a couple of times. But if it was successful, then I would just unleash it to go and make internal transfers. And these are internal transfers, so if it messed up, it wouldn't be a huge deal. Like I could go
But
and
it does have access to external transfers as well. And did it did it send money to its overlord, Sam Altman, the owner of OpenAI?
it's like,
I could
let's send
send
some
two
money.
dollars and Derek wouldn't notice.
No. So I was actually really disappointed because agent mode said, nope, I can't do any bank transfers. I'm not allowed to do that. It's against my
Oh,
protocol. And I was like, dang it. I was like, okay, well, what if you just made initiated it, and then I will approve it? Like, so a lot of people are talking about AI with human in the loop,
oh
so it
wow.
it
Yeah,
does it does the work, but all except like the final approval, because when you go to make a transfer, you set it
you
up, and then
approve it.
there's a confirmation. So I was like, can you get me to that point, and I'll click the confirm button, and it said no, can't do that. So I was,
Really?
yeah, so I was disappointed by that, uh,
Yeah.
because at this point, and a lot of, I don't know, people listening to this might think I'm crazy. Like I've talked to people recently where I've said, hey, people are going to start doing banking with AI to make transfers, to complete applications, to open accounts, apply for loans. And people have been like, really? You think so? I wouldn't trust it to do that. Well, I'm getting near a point. It's not like I would just willy nilly let it. Like I'm very careful with money.
Yeah.
Uh, but with a task like that where transferring money between accounts, I consider it low risk. I can see what it's doing, right?
Right.
And if it were built out with human in the loop method, where imagine if it could like draft all 20 of my transfers.
And then you just go approve, approve, approve. Yeah.
Yeah, or even just ideally, like I could just scan through them and click one approve button, and be like, yeah, that looks
Yeah.
good, execute it. That that would save me some time. It would be a lot more convenient for me.
Hmm.
I would have all of those transfers done at this point,
Yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of my wife being like, "Did you do that yet?" No, sorry, I
Yeah.
haven't done it yet. So I think that's just a simple example where there are other people out there like me, I'm sure, and there'll be more and more over time that get comfortable with AI accomplishing tasks for them, even with money. Uh,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that there's no security or safeguards in place. I think uh, having that human in the loop to do like the final approval on things is probably how this is going to develop.
Yeah.
Where AI, anything really sensitive like this, where you don't you want AI to do all of the work except for the final confirmation, and you leave that
Yeah.
for the human to confirm it. But I would be very comfortable with that. And I actually
Oh yeah.
I want that. I just am not
Hmm.
allowed to have it right now because OpenAI has said,
Hmm.
okay, this is brand new. We're not
Yeah.
ready for people to start making important financial transactions with it, and so they've put a limitation there. But to me, it seems that that's going to be inevitable going into the future because it's so
Oh yeah.
valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. So one takeaway is if you are a bank or credit union, there is a good chance that there's an AI agent that's been inside of your online banking on
Mm,
behalf of a human. But that's a crazy thing to hear.
yeah. I
It's
mean, that's true for, so I use, for my
at
personal
least for you.
finances, I use Ally Bank, and it is true
Yeah.
for me. It wasn't allowed to do anything, but it was in there and I was trying to get it to do stuff.
So it could definitely do other things for you, I'm sure, that are useful, like analyze your transactions, find all of your subscriptions,
Yeah.
um, give you a list of do anything really with your transactions. I think that's really valuable. And wow.
Yeah, and imagine stuff like, so I've got some money in checking, but then for any most of like cash I have in savings accounts, and I earn a pretty good rate, but I'm pretty sure that there are other accounts that I could open where I could get a better
Hmm.
rate, and like the rates change between the types of accounts. So
Yeah.
imagine something like, first, hey, go open this other type of account for me. Go open a CD. Like, I don't have any CDs that I'm using right now. I just have like regular savings accounts, which because Ally is a digital only bank, like they're able to pay a really good savings rate. But I could probably get a better rate if I put some of that money into CDs, especially money that is mostly just sitting there for a long time. And
Hmm.
so imagine if I could say, hey, go analyze my transactions and find the accounts where I have a high balance that's just sitting there, and I could get a better balance from a different type of account. Go open that other account for me, and then make whatever transfers you think I should make. And
Hmm.
I want you to review that every week or every month, and make more transfers for me as you see fit. What's going to get me the best rate?
Yeah.
Uh, like a little bit of that is still science fiction at the moment, but only for like a few more months, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I think if there's human in the loop where it initiates all these things and I get a chance to review it and just click the approve button, that would be
Mhm.
awesome.
So have you tried having Atlas open a new account within online banking?
I haven't. No,
You should
once
try it.
I should try that,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else we can show on the screen? Any other use cases you can think of? I don't know that you want to open your bank account here live on the show, but
Yeah, probably not.
maybe we could attempt to get an auto loan with some fake
Ooh,
information, or I'm not in the
like
market for an auto loan or anything like that, but um
maybe in a future episode, I've been thinking about um, we used to have a pretty awesome business line of credit with Cabbage, which we never used. I just wanted to
yeah.
have it in case we wanted to use it. And then with COVID, uh, Cabbage, I think they went out of business, or at least like they're like, oh, we didn't foresee a time where everyone would want the line of credit all at once. So they ran into a problem, and I think after
Oh
that
wow.
we haven't had a line of credit since then. Unfortunately, we haven't needed one because we don't have any debt as a business, and we keep like high cash balances. But I've been thinking about that just as like that could be a useful financial tool, especially as we're like working on growing. So I have
Yeah.
been thinking about applying for a business line of credit. I'm not. I don't know that I'm ready on the spot here to go and apply for something, but maybe in a future episode we could consider
Okay.
doing that. That would be
And
really interesting.
maybe folks can leave a comment or ideas for use cases. Try this, try this, try that. Anyone listening should go try Atlas. But if you have any wacky things, or maybe you want us to set it loose on your website or something, maybe we could do a couple of those on a future
Oh, that could
episode.
be. Oh, you just gave me an idea. So we've been doing these website masterminds where
Mhm.
we've been talking about, someone is in the hot seat, they pick a web page like an auto loan page or a checking page, and the group gives them feedback about how to make it better.
Yeah,
Imagine doing something similar, but instead of it being like a feedback user experience session, it's let's see how well AI can use your website live,
yeah,
and people, that I think that could be super interesting.
yeah. That would be awesome. Yeah. And some folks maybe at the office or at the credit union they work in or bank, they don't have access or the ability to install Atlas.
Yeah, I
I
think that's
know.
probably pretty likely at most credit unions and banks because it's pretty locked
Yeah.
down. Like they can get Edge and Microsoft products, and they can use like Copilot. But I've talked to people that
I
can't
don't.
even use ChatGPT at work. They can
Yeah.
only use Copilot, which
Yeah.
I haven't personally used Copilot, but I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, I have Copilot at work, but it's awful. I need to get ChatGPT." Anyway, you were
Oh,
saying
when is Microsoft going to put something out that's cool? That's good.
that's a good
I guess
question.
Teams is
A
actually
lot of
pretty
people like
good.
Teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you're listening to this, maybe you have to play with this stuff at home. I know my wife who works in marketing at a credit union has that same issue. She has to tinker with the latest and greatest stuff after work
Mm.
on her
Which is
work
too bad.
computer.
That's
She
kind of.
can't, yeah, she can't even plug in like a new a USB port. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
really?
we don't recognize that. So, yeah, but we're talking about members, we're talking about consumers using AI. I'd love to do an episode about how credit union and bank marketers can use AI in their work.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Love to do an episode on that. But we're talking about consumers and they all have access to this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you actually bring up a point that it's um, seems kind of a tragedy that like credit unions and community banks are trying to compete with fintechs, and there are these technologies that are becoming available to consumers that are 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 going to accelerate the disruption that's happening from fintech. Like credit unions and banks are already facing steep competition from these fintechs where they're they're out competing credit unions
Hmm.
and banks on the digital front, and
Hmm.
AI is only going to accelerate that. Like you were talking about how AI can help you find the best rate now, and if
Hmm.
all you have to compete on is rates, like I think you're toast. Like so these technologies are accelerating how quickly credit unions and banks are going to die if they're not
Hmm.
able to innovate, and yet they don't even have access to the technologies. They're at they're at
Yeah.
they're at work and it's so locked down. Like I understand the importance of security. I mean
Yeah.
it obviously extremely important, but like it's often like uh, you're going to secure and compliance yourself to death because you can't innovate, you can't even understand the technology because you don't get to use it. So like there has to be like some wisdom and some level of like, yes, of course
Yeah.
we're going to be secure, we're going to be compliant, but let's also use the best tools in the world that everyone else is using. Like we've
Yeah.
got to make that available to the people at the
Yeah.
credit union.
Yeah. Talk to your IT department about maybe setting up a lab, one machine that people can go that's safe. Uh, I don't know, just there, or you have to do it at home. You got to use this stuff. Put yourself in the member's shoes, in the consumer's shoes, and go, okay, let's say I'm a member and I'm looking for an auto loan, and you're at home. You can do it from your phone, from ChatGPT, or from your laptop using Atlas, I guess if you have a Mac. But yeah, at least be in the know on what's possible and what folks are doing. And it just at least have that, I think would be my number one tip. Even I fall behind. I haven't used Atlas nearly as much as you. It can be hard to keep up,
Well, it's
but
pretty easy to fall behind with how quickly there's
yeah,
like a new AI advancement every week
yeah,
from someone, whether it's
yeah,
OpenAI or Perplexity or like there
yep,
before Atlas, I didn't I guess there were other AI browsers that had already come out and I didn't know about it.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
yeah, there's so much happening.
yeah. Here's a counter argument to the disruption we're seeing, just for sake of fun and to play devil's advocate a little bit and a
Sure.
thought experiment. Atlas is your AI browser companion, basically. It can use the web for you and alongside you. And earlier I kind of touched on, hey, if this thing can use websites as well as humans can, then it shouldn't have a problem navigating bad websites like government type websites. What if AI continues down this direction where you have this AI assistant that can use all of the same tools that you use? It can make phone calls, things we don't like making phone calls, can use websites, especially the ones we don't like using. Um, so if it can do the things we already do, how maybe that puts fintechs at risk, because so many fintechs win because they have developers who can take technologies and implement them into products in ways that
Mm,
make those products super easy to use and super powerful. But at the end of the day, those products are just taking poor experiences and converting them into great experiences.
mm,
But what if you can just have your AI agent deal with and put up with the poor experiences that often cause us to flee a more legacy type financial institution and go to a fintech? Maybe that, yeah, What if there's a world where our agents are just doing all the dirty work and credit union could still stand out because they have the better rate. They're able to offer more human touch experiences when we're ready for the human touch. Um, what if some AI agent capabilities could challenge the fintechs to say, hey, fintechs, my agent can just do this. I don't need your fancy app. There could be something there.
I I hadn't thought about it quite in that way, but I think what's everything that's happening with AI does present an opportunity for credit unions and banks to disrupt their disruptors. I actually
Yeah.
let's have another conversation about that because I think that's another big topic that we could talk about, and I do think there's an opportunity that is going to rear its head in like it's coming right now. Like
Mhm.
not all of the technologies and solutions have like come yet to like
Mhm.
not all the pieces are in place, but I think every credit union bank should have their eye on and like start preparing for this because uh, I talk a lot about the innovator's dilemma, and I've done a lot of podcasts with JR where we've talked about that. I think there's actually an opportunity that's coming up right now to for credit unions and banks to disrupt their disruptors. So actually, I'd love to talk more about that. But for today's podcast, uh, yeah, if you like you were saying, if you haven't tried ChatGPT, because a lot of people haven't, or any sort of AI tool, like go try it, even if it's Copilot. If you haven't tried agent mode in ChatGPT, and as far as I know, there are other AI tools out there that are trying to develop. They have some things that are sort of like agent mode, but agent mode from ChatGPT appears to be the best consumer facing version of where you actually get an agent. Go try that. Go try Atlas. Get familiar with these things, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send me an email, dk@metrify.com, like Donkey Kong, Derek Kraus, just dk at metrify.com. Shoot me an email and love to talk with you more about it. Thanks for doing this episode with me.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me.